property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helps shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And we are back. We are live. And we're brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on a Monday morning. A Monday morning that we will get you caught up with on the NFL draft. If we can get this damn thing to work. We'll get you caught up on the NFL draft. We'll get you caught up on Major League Baseball, some high school baseball. We've got all kinds of stuff to get through in just 2 hours. We'll do our best to get through it all. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines if you want to be a part of the program this morning. See, it won't. The microphone just will not. I got to be a midget today if I'm going to talk on. I mean, look.
We got to get the Allen wrench in here. Let me find it.
Something's got to happen because this is not working.
Literally right in the middle. Okay. Anyway, we're just not off to a great start on a Monday. 256-576-4977. You can join us if you would like to. The major NFL draft is complete. I guess I could just lower my chair and sit on the dang floor because that's about, see, there we go. It's, I think it's in there. We're literally doing this while we've.
Gotcha.
There we go. Is that going to work?
That thing has been acting up. I've been in your chair a little bit since you've been on assignment, and it's been kind of, you remember what was that weekend at Bernie's? How low can you go? That's basically what that thing is. It just keeps slipping, and you're like, you try to your neck, and you're like, almost got it, and then you pull it up.
This is a red flag.
Yeah, red flag.
Oh, I think John got it. Not on there. We go.
Yeah. I had to stand up like that a little bit, but it just sort of still kept everything. Then if you move it just slightly, it would just go back down. So,
well, this thing here was giving me fits this morning too. So
we already know what that's called now. You know what I'm saying? That's Baghdad Bob.
Baghdad Bob was.
Steve's going to be in here a couple times this week. So if Baghdad Bob decides to disintegrate, he's going to have to be the one to fix it, because that thing's a little nerve wracking. That's about as bad as Shedeur Sanders' draft stock.
Anyway, that's where we can start you out of the gates. I was trying to actually send a tweet out to this morning.
Yeah,
it's telling me something went wrong on that. I apparently I should have just stayed at home in bed because things are not working the way that they're supposed to. But anyway, 256-576-4977. We get you started with a little recap. Big thank you though to Talent Heating and Air. 256-503-4490. Let their talent work for you. Give Thomas, Terry, Jeremy a call. How about this? HVAC maintenance, it's crucial. It's critical to preserve the life of your system. Biannual maintenance, it can save you money on costly repairs and energy. So tune-ups, your AC, your HVAC unit, it needs a tune-up.
Yeah.
So give them a call for a tune-up
before it gets so hot that you're out of luck. Miserable.
Yeah.
With the humidity and everything. Now the pollen's about gone finally, but we know we're going to be, in another month or so.
We're going to be in the thick of it.
Yeah. That's probably a good way to put it.
We don't have TV this morning because somehow we got logged out of the accounts, and I don't know the past stuff to get logged in on the DirecTV.
Oh,
so we don't have TV this morning.
I mean, all I did last week, I turned the TVs off, but I just hit the power button.
I don't know. So we don't.
I don't know the passwords anyways.
We're batting 1,000 this morning.
Yeah, I didn't log out. It was, matter of fact, those are the screensavers, and I just turned the TVs off because I didn't know how to get back in it anyways.
Yeah. All right. So the NFL draft is in the books.
Yeah.
There were 257 players taken in this year's NFL draft. 150 of those 257 finished their collegiate careers at an SEC or a Big Ten school.
Right.
The SEC led the way with 79 overall picks in the draft. The Big Ten was 71, and then a sharp decline. The ACC with 42, the Big 12 with 31. 6 out of the Mountain West, 6 out of the American, 4 out of the MAC, 3 out of the Big Sky, 2 out of the Missouri Valley. United Athletic Conference, which is UNA's conference, had won. The SWAC, congratulations to the SWAC conference, because the only member taken out of the SWAC conference was from Alabama A&M.
Correct.
So congratulations to the Bulldogs. William and Mary, Western Kentucky, Washington State, and Marshall all had one. But so I was thinking about this. We pat the SEC and we pat the Big Ten on the backs for having 150 of the draft picks. But really, is that surprising because of the super conferences? I mean, because of the fact that they both have 16 teams in their league now. It used to mean more when we talked about the SEC and the Big Ten getting all these picks in. But does it really mean more now because they each have 16 teams in?
I mean, look, it's just going to be a preview of what's to come. I mean, the SEC, now that they've added Oklahoma and Texas, and boy, these Texas fans, they're sure sensitive. And I got a lot of reaction from saying that basically Isaiah Bond ruined his football career. Well, at least at the beginning. I mean, he can still make a team. I think he's going to training camp with Cleveland as an undrafted free agent.
But he said when he left Alabama, he was going to try to improve his draft stock.
He thought he was going to be a first-round pick, and, he thought he was going to win a national championship at Texas. He did learn quickly that Texas, what they tend to do is award themselves the championship after winning one game, and then they start planning parades and congratulating themselves. They don't ever try to finish the drill. It's they win one game, we're back, hook them, we're the best. Whoops. And then, I wasn't even trying to poke at Texas fans. All I was saying is that Isaiah Bond, if he had stayed at Alabama, first of all, you're going to sell a lot of T-shirts. You're going to sell a lot of prints. You're going to go to autograph signings. You're going to be an Iron Bowl hero for the rest of your life if you stay there. And then you're going to be playing for a head coach in Kalen DeBoer, who, by the way, owns Sark's ass right now. But, I mean, that's another thing, they don't want mentioned because they just want to say, well, you lost to Vanderbilt, you lost to Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. Of course, they do forget that Sark got his ass handed to him by Oklahoma a couple of years ago, too. But I'm just saying, all I meant is that Isaiah Bond, if he stays put, and first of all, I said he shouldn't even have been in the draft this year, period, anyway.
Right.
He should have been a guy because he would have had a lot of NIL value at Alabama for the plays that he made to help win the Iron Bowl, the SEC championship game. And then even if this year he had a similar statistical year, you're talking about, you still would have had an NIL raise this year, and you would have gone into next year as a senior, second year in DeBoer's system, playing, with a new QB that's probably a better fit for the offense. You could have had a chance to potentially have a big senior year, be a top 3-round draft pick, yet make a lot of NIL money and be a hero for the rest of your career. But instead you go to Texas. I'm sure he got a really nice NIL payout.
Right. But the question is, though, if you are him and you either have Jalen Milroe or Quinn Ewers throwing you the ball in college, which quarterback, though, would you want throwing you the ball more consistently?
Who got drafted higher?
Milroe. But you didn't have a lot of confidence in Milroe.
All I know is Quinn Ewers, and I finally figured out how to say it. It's Ewers, not Ewers, or whatever the hell. I don't really give a damn. But it's Ewers. Look, I think Quinn Ewers is a good player. Okay. Right. I think Jalen Milroe is a good player, just extremely inconsistent and not a great passer. But look, all I'm saying is Isaiah Bond also has legal trouble. That had a lot to do with him not getting drafted. He probably would have been a guy that went he ran like a 4.3 something at the combine.
All the measurables fit.
I think he would have been a 4th to 7th round pick if he hadn't had the legal problems. But I think he would have gone higher at Alabama if he'd have stayed. Because, again, it's not like Milroe didn't throw for 2,800 yards last year. He did, okay? And he and Bond had really good chemistry. And then at Texas, they shared the ball a little bit more. I think Bond would have been targeted more at Alabama. He was off to a good start at Texas before he got hurt, but maybe he doesn't get hurt. Maybe he doesn't have the legal problems he had at Texas when he got in trouble with this. And these sexual assault allegations may not have any merit to him. I'm just saying he's going through that right now. But maybe he stays out of off-field trouble because he didn't have any that we know of at Alabama. So to me, I think, he may have got more short-term NIL money from going from Bama to Texas, but he still would have made really good NIL money. And I still say had better opportunities off the field than he had with the Longhorns. Because ain't nobody buying a T-shirt with Gravedigger on it or a print or anything like that in Austin. They don't give a crap except that Joe Biden should be president. That's all those idiots care about. Bunch of liberal morons, because that's basically who is, basically trying to verbally assault me. I blocked several of them. But I mean, and again, I wasn't even throwing shade at Texas's program. I like Sark.
So you got into it with a bunch of Texas people over the weekend.
Not even intentionally. They're so sensitive. Like, what a bleep take and all this stuff. I'm like, goodbye. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I'm not throwing shade at Texas's program. I'm saying the kid made a mistake. Okay. He made a mistake. He should have stayed put because he would have been in a better situation staying in college and playing 4 years at Alabama. And he still would have made money. And I think probably more in the long run, because I bet he would have had more off-field opportunities in Tuscaloosa than he got in Austin.
Right.
Because they're having to there's so many guys on that football team and they're having to share the wealth. It's speculation on my part, but I just think that he made a mistake. And he should have stayed put, and he did not. And so he goes to Texas. He kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Then he gets hurt. And by the way, the legal trouble happened after the season. He in the playoffs, he was healthy, and he wasn't a big part of the offense. If in case you didn't see, they didn't target him much. When they did, I think he had a drop. Like, he was starting to come on at Alabama, and then he left, and I think he made a mistake. And Ewers is a good player. He went in the 7th round to the Miami Dolphins. Personally, still, Milroe went at the end of the 3rd. I wouldn't have drafted him. What did I say on this show? Would not have drafted him in the top 3 rounds.
Right.
I thought he was going to drop into the 4th. He didn't. The Seahawks took a chance on him. He's a boomer bust guy because he has the talent to play in the NFL. He has the arm talent. He has the size. He has the mobility. But again, the neck up is an issue. And his running ability, he won't willingly do it unless you call a quarterback run. It's not like he improvises a lot. So in his pocket presence, there's a lot of work he needs to still put in. So could he make it in the NFL? Yes, but he is going to be the 3rd quarterback with the Seahawks, though, because we all know they tied up $100 million into Sam Darnold, and then they also signed Drew Lock. And so Drew Lock's a veteran who's been around. And so, and this will be good for Milroe, though. He needs to be the 3rd quarterback. He needs to, work in practice,
right.
work with a quarterback coach, especially watch a ton of film, work on it. I mean, he needs to be brought along slowly. But I'm just saying that, Isaiah Bond had really started to come on at Alabama, make a name for himself. And sometimes if you go to another place, he and Amari Niblack they both went to Texas, and it didn't work out. And I just – and now Niblack, I don't even know where he is. I mean, I think he's gone from the Texas program. But sometimes you should stay put. And I think it's a cautionary tale for some players going forward that, you might want to, slow your roll. And I understand he didn't know Kalen DeBoer. And, the coaching staff he played for, and Nick Saban retired and left. But I'll just say it again. I know he said he wanted to go play with a better quarterback, a better system at Texas. And you could say it's a better system, but Kalen DeBoer's system works too. And I just think – and Bond is not the biggest guy. I mean,
right.
his game is speed. He's probably going to be more of a slot guy, and he just needed to probably be a 4-year player. And again, he came along at a good time to be a 4-year player because you get paid in college, and you can get paid handsomely. And I think he would have been a good fit for what Kalen DeBoer's doing. Now, he would have had to have the right mindset and things of that nature, but I still think Isaiah Bond made a mistake.
All right, there's a lot of people that think Quinn Ewers made a mistake. There's a lot of people.
He probably cost himself, like his rookie contract is going to be very minimal.
Like $1 million probably, maybe or somewhere around
maybe
that.
more than that. I mean, if you believe Pete Nakos, and Nakos is well connected, he talked about that after Ewers went in the 7th round. Like, he had offers on the table to stay in school. And now it wouldn't have been at Texas. We all know.
No, it would have been up to $8 million.
I mean,
between 4 and 8
number,
between 4 and 8,
it's probably more closer to the 4.
Right.
But
somewhere somebody was going to pay him to stay one more year in college football at a prominent school. It would not have been at Sacramento State or somewhere like that. It was going to be a prominent school.
Oregon was the one with the most speculation around it.
And he was going to get paid. And there was a lot of people that believed maybe if he came back, he would be able to improve his numbers, improve a lot of things, and stay there. But he chose to go to the NFL. We can delve into that a little bit more. We got to get a break in. We got to get into the whole Shedeur Sanders situation. We got to get into the Quinn Ewers. We'll get into
red flag.
We'll get into a lot of those. Several Auburn players had their names called as well. We'll delve into all that. Plus, we got to get into the high school baseball. We got Atlanta Braves baseball. We've only just begun. It's a Monday morning. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck working 53 in Kelly Springs. I thought it was a hit and run, but I think they've now located the second vehicle. We had one at Moores Mill in Winchester that had an injury involved. Should be about wrapped up on that one. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment. A 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Employee pricing can save you thousands off MSRP, and with over 600 Fords for you to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find just exactly what you're looking for. This offer ends May 31st, so hurry in. Woody Anderson Ford.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This spring, bloom into savings at Owen Home Appliance Center with a new shipment of scratch and dent items at the Somerville location, like a side-by-side refrigerator with water and ice, just $6.99. Or head to the highly interactive location in Lacey Springs to get the latest in appliance tech. It's garden and grilling season, so you're going to need that 21 cubic foot upright frost-free freezer for just $7.99 at Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service only at Owen Home Appliance Center, Somerville and Lacey Springs.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games, and if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I should come up sometime, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come up, I'll tell you a fortune.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on, well, what we can say is a beautiful Monday morning in the Tennessee Valley.
Right outside. I mean, I will say that.
Safe travels into work, into school. How about 66 degrees right now? Your high today is 83 degrees in the Tennessee Valley. 74% humidity today. Now your UV index, if you're going to be outside, make sure you put that sunscreen on. Your UV index today is going to be pretty high. So,
speaking of sunscreen and where you were last week, we had some listeners ask this and send in messages. You were covering the ASUN beach volleyball.
Doing yes.
They wanted to know, since it was raining some of that time, how does that affect beach volleyball?
So you play in the rain.
You know, they do. You still play, but
as long
does it slow it down? How hard is the sand? That's all they want to know.
So the balls, this sounds pretty bad.
Here we go.
The balls become heavier.
Okay.
But
I can see that.
You know, they come up. The sand can give you more lift.
Being wet?
Because it's a little wet.
Okay.
And so sometimes you can get a little bit more spring from the sand.
See, now we're getting some
you can.
answers, people.
But I tell you what, as soon as the lightning was in a certain amount of radius, on Friday we had almost a 2-hour delay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because of the storms that went through. But no, they were playing in the rain. And you just keep going. You keep on playing. But
you just keep on waiting if you're Shedeur.
Yeah, you waited and 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 waited. I tell you, okay. So here's the thing. I don't remember a draft.
Right.
Now, I remember seeing certain guys, Aaron Rodgers sat in there, and there's been other guys that have
Warren Sapp.
Yep, that have kind of sat through but I don't ever remember a draft.
Yeah.
That one individual he was a villain and then became like somebody that you felt sorry for.
I never did.
And then somebody you felt like a villain again. It was almost like if you watched social media, like people were roasting him for not getting picked in the first round. And then it became more in the second and even more in the third. But then you had people that were feeling sorry for him. And then the reports keep coming out.
Those people are idiots, though. They're talking about collusion and all this and racism. That's
you had
total
all
stupidity.
of these people pile on about the NFL.
Question. What color is Cam Ward?
Yes. There was none of that.
He's a black quarterback.
Yeah, there was none.
The top pick in the draft was a black QB. They had nothing to do with race with Shedeur Sanders at all.
No, the more people and the more teams that passed on him, the more stories that came out about. You got to love these anonymous GMs and coaches and stuff. But if certain people leak it out, you kind of tend to believe it. And so when the Adam Schefters and
there was too many people leaking it out.
Yeah,
it wasn't just one person.
That he would go to meetings.
And this is Shedeur we're talking about.
He would go to meetings or he would be at home with meetings and FaceTime calls or whatever, and he would take other personal calls and not get off the phone while talking to NFL teams. And he would come in and say, I really don't think we're a fit and I don't think this is going to work. And Dad's over here saying, we're not going to, we don't want to go to this team. We don't want to go to X, Y, and Z. We're only going to play for A, B, and C. And things like that start coming out. And you're like, maybe
it's a bunch of hype too, because like I said off the air, and I'm saying it now, if anybody follows recruiting, and I do, Shedeur Sanders played for his father in high school and then was a 2 to 3 star prospect, really a 3-star. And he went to the University of Alabama camp and threw for their staff. And everybody's seen the commercials. They've heard what Deion said. He's tight with Nick Saban. They have a really good relationship.
Right.
And Shedeur was not offered a scholarship because Nick Saban doesn't offer everyone. Now, Nick Saban admitted, and I when he was picked in the second round by the Jets, I certainly, and after watching him beat Alabama and play really well in his career, they made a big mistake not offering Mason Taylor when he came to camp at Alabama. They did not offer him. He went to LSU. Saban had coached Jason Taylor, his father, with the Dolphins. They had a really good relationship. They could have got Mason Taylor, and they made a mistake. But they did not take Shedeur Sanders either. So that just goes to show you Nick Saban doesn't care who your dad is. He just wants a good player. He made a mistake with Mason Taylor. You could say maybe with Shedeur. I don't know. I tend to disagree. I think at the time when you look at Shedeur, he's a really good player. But what I'm saying is he wasn't being heavily sought after by the Alabamas, the LSUs. I mean, he was a 3-star prospect, and there's a reason he committed to FAU, Florida Atlantic, out of high school, because he had group of 5 offers, basically. He was a Division I prospect, but he wasn't a 4 and 5-star player. And people forget that because of who his father is and then what he did at Colorado. But his father threw him a lifeline, letting him go to Jackson State, start early in his career, basically become a 4-year starter. Right. And he did a great job at Jackson State. They dominated the SWAC. Then he follows his father to Colorado and actually had a year of eligibility left, and then, played 2 years at Colorado, put up good numbers, became an NFL prospect, and he is. But again, he's not a blue chip. Matter of fact, look at Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers was the number 1 player in the country and ends up going in the 7th round, went to a higher profile program. So you could say Shedeur outperformed him in many ways. But I also say this, I don't think Shedeur played against the competition in college that Ewers did, and yet still went higher in the draft. But what I'm trying to, again, the whole point is there was a lot of hype around Shedeur. I still say he's a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And then the way he handled the draft process, which you were going into detail, that's what hurt him bad, because these organizations, they don't want to deal, with somebody that's going to be difficult in their locker room. Right. And that, is going to act entitled. They want guys that are going to be in lockstep with their beliefs and their football team and that's ready to come in and work. And, I think if Shedeur had approached it like that, I don't think he probably even gets past the 2nd round. But I just think there was a lot of red flags.
Oh, there was a ton of red flags.
And then another thing, too. Now, if Shedeur's 6'5", and he has a rocket arm and things of that nature, then he would have been a 4 or 5-star prospect coming out of high school. And then even with some of these red flags, he would have been a 1st-round draft pick. Because trust me, they've taken guys with baggage in 1st rounds before if you have the physical talent. Right. Because everybody always thinks they can fix it. But see, the thing with Shedeur is I think he's really good from the neck up. I do think he's been coached well growing up. I think he knows football. But again, the entitlement hurt him. And he has an average arm, average size. But that doesn't mean you can't be a really good player even in the NFL. No. Because, look, there's been guys that had average tools that ended up being really good players. But, again, I think Shedeur hurt himself because – and it was more Deion. I think you just mentioned it. Deion, we don't want to go here. We want to go here. Yeah. And putting all – and then during his pro day workout at Colorado, I think he was
only
critical.
Selecting like certain things that you're going to do.
How some of the workouts were set up.
And they only wanted to work out in front of certain teams. Like they were trying to pick the teams that they were going to work out in front. They were going to
and then the post
try
is
to
out
do
there on
certain
X
things.
That Deion called somebody and said, well, my son's going top 5, and he should have changed it to top 5 rounds.
Now, the one thing I will say, the one thing is, and it happened to multiple people during the draft, but obviously no more bigger than Shedeur Sanders. And that is the prank phone calls that happened during the draft.
Well, but let me also say this too. Jeff Ulbrich, who's the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator.
Yes.
His son was one of them that
his son did the Shedeur Sanders one.
And maybe more. I mean, there was a lot of them out there, and the only one getting any traction, of course, was Shedeur, but there were several players that were prank called.
Yes.
But do I believe
Isaiah Bond was one of them? Yeah. He got prank called as well.
Several, but I saw idiots in the media saying Jeff Ulbrich should be fired for what his son did. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, his son took Shedeur Sanders' number off his father's iPad.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Yes, but Jeff Ulbrich shouldn't be fired because his son did something stupid
and
like that.
And the Falcons did their own investigation and said that's not going to be the case. He's not going to get fired. They're handling it on their own. They're going to do it. The NFL is continuing to investigate on how all of this happened with all of the players, on how all of these players got pranked phone calls.
I mean, there were
several of them that happened. Yes.
But because of what happened with Shedeur and the drop that he incurred, it
all just kind of piles on to it.
I mean, look, and don't get me wrong, it was completely stupid to do something like that to folks. I mean, don't do that to anyone.
Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end, was prank called during the draft.
He went 14th, but come on, man, that's ridiculous. It's stupid. I mean, I just shook my head, but should anybody be fired over it? No, it's just some kids, getting access to numbers. This is the social media age, man. This is what happens. But was it stupid? Absolutely. But should a coach be fired over it? Do I believe Ulbrich knew? Absolutely not. I don't think he knew his son was doing it.
No.
But I mean, it's just stupid that there was idiots on social media, and these are verified writers saying that Ulbrich should be fired because of what his son did. And my fire back to them would be, when you write something stupid, and a lot of y'all do, should you be fired when you write something stupid? Because a lot of you guys do. You don't have a damn clue what you're looking at and what you're watching. It's you. A lot of you write opinion and things of that nature, and you try to analyze things yourself. Should you be fired? I mean, I love Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper was getting eviscerated.
Oh, Mel Kiper almost had a melt. No, not almost. Mel Kiper had a meltdown.
And I love Mel.
On the air.
He had a meltdown over Shedeur Sanders because he had him ranked 5th on his board. Well, and then Matt Miller was on there, Field Yates. They all had Shedeur as a first-round pick. Now, I think Field had him middle of the first round, and Matt had him late, but they all had him as first-round picks. But Mel Kiper was just beside himself. But again, and talked about how the NFL blows, evaluating quarterbacks all the time. But, well, everybody does. It's a total inexact science. No, you very rarely get it right as far as especially completely. But then you look at all the guys over the years. Jamarcus Russell, he was a complete flop. I mean, he was a total bust. Look, man, it happens. So, but yeah, Mel had a complete meltdown and was being roasted in the media, and he's been really good at his job for years. But of course, he's wrong a lot because, as I've told you, I hate mock drafts. And pretty much, if you look at mock drafts, they're lucky to get 3 or 4 right overall, and it's usually maybe the top 2 or 3, and then after that, it's just a grab bag.
Well, coming up at the bottom of the second hour, Chad Reuter will join us from the NFL Network draft analyst.
Him, where did he have Shedeur on his board?
He gave out his draft grades yesterday, and we'll go over those in the second hour. Josh Pate had he talked about Quinn Ewers and the people that were questioning all that, and he had some interesting things to say. We'll hear from him on that. Plus, we got to get into some SEC baseball, Atlanta Braves baseball. We got to get high school baseball. Let's get a break in, though. Talking Ball is going to roll on a Monday.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Quiet night expected across the area. Low temperatures going to be falling into the mid and upper 60s. We'll continue to sit under a partly cloudy sky. That partly cloudy sky will continue into our Tuesday, where high temperatures are expected to reach the lower 80s once again. A small chance for rain and a few thunderstorms to develop heading into the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They're still showing that wreck at 53 in Kelly Springs. It may be wrapped up already, but be careful through the area. They were reporting some northbound blockage there. That one did report an injury. Everything else looks good this morning. I don't see any other major snags. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Tom Abraham back from my friend Ross Roberts at Valley Equipment Rental. It's springtime, so let's get that garden tilled with a tiller from Valley Equipment. And while you're at it, snag a power washer for the house and the driveway. And if you're putting in a sprinkler system, they have the small trencher that you need. And you can even rent a Skag zero-turn mower and much more to get your property in shape. Valley Equipment, not just for the contractor, but the homeowner as well. 2 locations on the North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people, flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa, starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a back compressor, a leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect.
Oh, welcome back. 7:40 on a Monday morning. Scott Tyson Booty. Welcome back in. Oh, we've been just kind of getting you caught up on everything from the NFL draft over the weekend. Another Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7 rounds in the books.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to you. You mentioned it at our opening.
Yep.
But again, shout out to Caleb Vincent, or should be Carson Vincent.
Carson Vincent, yes.
Carson Vincent is, of course, the offensive tackle from Alabama A&M, 5th-round pick by the Ravens. He's got a chance to, following Robert Mathis' footsteps, and that's around the time Robert Mathis was drafted, and he became a Hall of Fame player with the Indianapolis Colts. So a great opportunity for offensive tackle Carson Vincent. And I had Caleb on my brain because I want to give another shout out as from Tulane, our good friend John Summerall, Caleb Ransaw, a defensive back. He goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he went 88th overall. So he actually went before he went in the 3rd round before Mr. Vincent, and he is a Sparkman graduate. So congratulations to him. He had a great career at Tulane. And has got a chance to, go to a Jacksonville Jaguars organization that's really trying to rebuild defensively, got a good chance to make an impact. But that's a couple of local guys who got drafted. Those were cool stories.
Yeah. Vincent becomes the 20th Alabama A&M player selected in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
The first since 2011. When Frank Curse was chosen by the Dolphins in the 7th round.
Right.
And Vincent becomes the first Bulldog offensive lineman taken since Joe Patton was selected in the 3rd round by the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
So big deal there.
Yes.
For Carson Vincent.
And he had been at the Senior Bowl, and we had kind of
He was the only
him.
HBCU player invited to the Combine and to the Reese's Senior Bowl.
Yeah, we talked about him last week that he was very likely hear his name called, that he had impressed a lot of people. And the Baltimore Ravens, they handle the draft better than most organizations. They do a great job. The Philadelphia Eagles as well. That's why, and those two organizations are good all the time. So they're usually picking toward the end of the round, but they do a great job of identifying players and pegging them. And that's why they continue to win. They don't, some of these organizations, there's a reason they keep drafting high because they don't know what the hell they're doing. But the Eagles, I thought they did a great job once again drafting winners. They do that. They do a great job of evaluating. And then the Baltimore Ravens, you look at how consistent they've been. They've had, John Harbaugh has been in place for almost 20 years. Yeah. They've had really stable ownership, and that's what you get when you have the right people in power.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number. You can join us here this morning on a, let's call it a Monday morning. A lot of great stuff happening. This week. You got your high school baseball playoffs resuming. You will have the soccer playoffs kind of resuming. Softball is getting into that postseason play. They're starting to get there. So a lot of great stuff happening. Don't forget, next week in Huntsville is the state soccer tournament. That just tells you how fast the end of the school year is coming. Yeah. When that rolls around.
When May gets here, it's just like a race.
It just kind of flies right on by, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of like this last segment did. 7:44 on a Monday morning. Let's get one break in. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour 1 of Talkin' Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
It all comes back to money.
Visit our store right now at zonedeals.bigdealsmedia.net to take advantage of all the best deals in the Tennessee Valley. Or just go to our website, 977ESPN.com, and click on the Zone Deals logo to start saving right now.
Now, as to the price.
These deals won't last long, so get yours now. Zone Deals. You'll thank us later.
A man who could easily afford to buy a vowel.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawler's makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawler's has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawler's is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawler's Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back, Talkin' Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, DeArmond, born in the harvest. High school, all 4 years at started his career at Troy, and then went to Tulane.
And I'm sure he played his whole career for John Summerall, right?
His first 2 seasons in 21 and 22 was at Troy.
Right.
And then he transferred to play for the Green Wave.
Yeah, there you go.
Personal life, he's the cousin of former Alabama and NFL cornerback Dre Kirkpatrick.
There you go.
So we're just finding all finding out some new things today. I mean, look, there's you know what? There's so many great kids. We talk about it every Friday night. There's how many great players there are in North Alabama high school wise.
And there still shows there's talent here. I know the football struggles,
and they go on to do great things in college.
But they're still players that if they get the right situation, and we've always said that Sparkman had a lot of athletes, and this it's another one. It's a credit to LaRon White, Ronnie Watson, and all those guys. And this kid spent his entire, athletic career there. And he, obviously got a shot. And it just also is a credit to John Summerall and his staff for the way they recruit. They saw a lot of potential in him. They took him to Troy, and then he followed that staff to Tulane. I can't blame him. It's a great coaching staff. And now he's a 3rd-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean,
he went to the Reese's Senior Bowl.
Yep.
He had an invite to the East-West Shrine Bowl. He had an interception in the end zone in the Senior Bowl from Taylor Shaw, or the Louisville quarterback.
I figured it out. It's Taylor Shuck.
Shuck?
Like Shucks. Oh, my God. And then this is how long Shuck has been playing. I just typed his name in, right? Or I typed in Oregon quarterback because I was trying to figure out who their starter might be now that we know that obviously Dylan Gabriel has moved on to the Cleveland Browns. And of course it's DeAndre Moore who transferred from UCLA, very likely, a former 5-star. But we already talked about how it could have been Ewers, if you believe the rumors that Ewers was of interest to Oregon and his experience, and he could have gone there and made big-time NIL money. But I was looking it up, and guess who Justin Herbert's backup quarterback was in 2019? To show you how long these guys have been staying in college.
Seriously?
Tyler Shuck.
Shucks.
They're like,
are you kidding?
They're like, Tyler Shuck is in the game. I'm like, and then I looked at the date of the post, and it's like 2019, and you're like, whoa. So this dude is 25 years old, and he was a 3rd-round pick, I believe, of the New Orleans Saints. So he could be the Saints quarterback of the future, but he backed up Justin Herbert at one time. I think he played for 4 colleges. It's tough to continue to figure it out because these guys bounce around so much. But I mean, it just goes to show you how long these careers are.
No, they are.
And I saw an interview with Derek Dooley on Outkick, and he was talking about how they've got to move this stuff forward because he's like, it's amazing. He's like, these guys are trying to play damn 6-7 years. Like he said, he goes, you need to move on. So he said, because it's hurting the high school player. And we've talked to high school coaches in our area about this because all these schools are looking at the portal and looking for older guys and not signing high school players. And so they need to move this COVID stuff on. Stop. This JUCO thing needs to be a 1-year deal, and they need to nip that in the bud too, where you don't get extra years just because you played junior college. But we've got to get back to the 5. Now, the one thing I could support is if you get 5 years of eligibility. In other words, you don't have to if you before now it's you got 5 years to play 4. You can redshirt a year and play 4 years. Let them play 5 years, but then after that you got to go. You got to move on.
All right, let's get out to the phone lines real fast.
Jay
is with us. Good morning, Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Morning, guys.
Morning. How are you?
Hey, any word on Ryland's visit this weekend?
I just know he took a picture of the Final Four trophy, dog. That's about all I saw. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I will see.
I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're
for those
taking
that don't know, Ryland Griffin, basketball at Alabama on a visit.
There's been so many reported visits that he visited, other times, but you never really saw proof. Well, you saw proof this time, but nothing so far. But like I said, I think Alabama's kind of taking their time. I still think they're keeping things open communication-wise with LeBaron Philon. They've got 3 spots. They've got guys they're involved with, but I think they're trying to be calculated in what they're doing. And again, I still think they're in a good spot. But I know a lot of people get antsy, they get anxious, they want something to happen and be announced. But don't forget, I mean, it took till mid-May for them to finalize the roster last year, so still got some days to wait through the NBA draft process with Coward and guys like that. So we will see.
Okay. Well, that's what I want to know. Y'all have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you, man.
256-576-4977. If you've got a question or two, now's a good time to do so, because coming up at the top of the hour, Bryan Mathews will join the program. And then at 8:30, we will delve into some grades for the NFL draft as our good friend Chad Reuter will join us from NFL Network, NFL Media. He posted his draft grades a little bit, and we'll hit those in hour number 2. High school baseball did get underway this past weekend because of Mother Nature. There was some juggling of the games. Bob Jones did knock off Thompson in a thrilling series, 2-1 in that one. They had to come back and win
down
game
6-3 going into the bottom of the 7th, man. We're talking about you're 3 outs away from going home.
Hit a 3-run homer.
And then a solo homer. Dude hadn't hit a bomb all year.
in the 8th.
That's the way baseball is, man. Yahtzee.
Hoover knocks off Grissom in 2, 12-1, 14-6. Your scores there. In Class 6A today, Mountain Brook and Buckhorn. Buckhorn will travel back down to Mountain Brook for Game 3 of that series. That is set for 5:30 today. Gardendale knocks off Fort Payne. Coleman falls to Pell City. Hartselle and Homewood will have Game 3 today. That'll be 6 p.m. Then you've got Homewood. Madison Academy. They win their series against Leeds 2-0. Scottsboro wins their series against Jacksonville 2-0. Russellville and American Christian. They'll have Game 3 today at 5 o'clock. In Class 4A, Haleyville knocks off Madison County 2-0. Central Florence gets by Cordova 2-1. Vinemont and Phil Campbell, Game 3 today at 4:30. Marsville Bible is through. Decatur Heritage and Red Bay, Game 3 today at 5 p.m. Vincent knocks off North Sand Mountain. South Lamar knocks off Athens Bible. Addison over Pickens Academy. And Appalachian and Hackleburg will have Game 3 today at 4:30. So a lot of those are just a few of the baseball scores from over the weekend.
And we had another message come in, a text, and this is another good point. We've had the Shador conversation about it not being a Ballyhoo prospect.
Yes.
Well, Steve Sarkisian, before he left Alabama now, he had to find a quarterback to follow Bryce Young. He chose Jalen Milroe, flipped him from Texas over Shador Sanders. So Shador is a good player, but I think there was a lot of hype that went into this thing. And because he's Deion Sanders' son, he got some opportunities and now he needs to take advantage of it, though. Stop telling people how good you are and show them.
That was the biggest talk, was the fact that Deion took him to Jackson State.
Yep.
Deion took him to Colorado. Deion put him in the spotlight. Deion made him the starting quarterback. Deion did everything for him, and he never had to prove himself.
Now he has to.
Yes.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. That's what he's basically going to have to do. Or he
started from the bottom, now we're here.
But one thing will be clear, because if his ass don't play good, he'll be out.
He'll be back at the bottom.
Yeah, he's having to play against a fellow rookie, Dylan Gabriel. They're going to have to compete against each other directly.
All right. We're going to get that break in. Bryan Mathews will help us fill in where the Auburn Tigers went in the draft.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
Atlanta Braves on the road to the Colorado Rockies today. Bryce Elder on the mound for Atlanta, $1.75 favorite. Ryan Feltner with the Rockies plus 145, 10.5 over the total. Yesterday, the Braves dropped a 6-4 decision at Arizona as the D-backs snapped a 4-game losing streak. NASCAR yesterday, Austin Cedric wins at Talladega, his third career victory. This week they race at the Texas Motor Speedway. And heading to Texas, the Worth 400, Kyle Larson is a 3-1 favorite to win the Cup Series title. Christopher Bell plus 450. Denny Hamlin is 6-1. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour 2 of Talking Ball. It's officially here. Sportsmed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center helping us put the ball on the tee, so to speak. 256-881-5151. You can experience the Sportsmed difference. The official medical providers for the UAH Chargers and the Rocket City Trash Pandas, both of which you can hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Rocket City Trash Pandas, they are in the thick of the season. UAH winding down everything. But Sportsmed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, they are dedicated to providing care that improves lives. The 2025 NFL Draft has come and gone. 3 Auburn Tigers heard their names called during the 3-day event. Jaquez Hunter, Keandre Lambert-Smith, and Jalen McLeod all selected on day 3. Jaquez Hunter first. He went to the Los Angeles Rams with a 4th-round pick. Lambert-Smith was next. Los Angeles team by the Chargers in the 5th round.
I think that's a steal, by the way.
And then McLeod rounded out the day by being taken with the 194th overall pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good pick, too, because he got hurt a lot. If he had been healthier, I think if he stays healthy, he can be a good pass rusher. So I think all 3 of those cats are going to make NFL teams and play for at least get a few years underway.
8 more Tigers turned professional by signing undrafted free agent contracts yesterday. So we'll see where they all, or see how they all. Peyton Thorne signed one with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Eugene Asante with the Dolphins. Robert Lewis with the Vikings. Austin Keys with the Vikings. Dorian Masai with the Vikings, Oscar Chapman with the Vikings.
Chapman's a good punter. He may have a chance. I mean, you'd have an Bama with the place kicker and Will Reichert, and then Oscar Chapman with the Vikings.
All right, to delve a little bit more into this, and the Auburn baseball team at least got a series win.
Yep, they were able to get that Sunday impressive win, offensive explosion against Mississippi State to win 2 out of 3. They definitely are going to have a test this weekend. They got Tennessee coming up, but
Tennessee's licking their wounds a little bit.
They still are one of the top 10 teams in the country, but these Vol fans that thought they were going to run roughshod through the Southeastern Conference on the way to another national championship, they're the defending champs till somebody knocks them off, and they're going to be a big time contender for Omaha, but. It's not been smooth sailing within the league. The best team in this league right now, I know he took a lot of criticism for hopping across the state, but I watched a little bit of it. Texas is rolling right now. They have had a big, a seamless transition to the SEC. And right now they are 19-2. Pardon me. I believe they're through 21 games now. They have 3 weekends remaining, but the Longhorns 19-2 in the SEC, and I think there's something like 37-5 overall. They're a machine right now. But speaking of machines, he's been covering the Tigers since 2001, the Auburn Tigers, that is. He's with AuburnSports.com, part of the Rivals Network, and it's always great to catch up with the one and only Bryan Mathews. Good morning, sir.
Morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Morning, Brian.
Doing well. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce and Chili yesterday, so appreciate that. We're always going to plug Uncle Keith's Red Sauce with Bryan Mathews coming on. And, Brian, we were talking about the 3 young men drafted by the Auburn Tigers. I know nobody really expected anyone to go before the 3rd round with Auburn, and they went 4th, 5th round, and then I believe McLeod went in the 6th round, right, Scott?
Yes.
Going to 6th. But I think all 3 of those guys are going to play a while because I think they're better than where they were drafted, quite frankly. And I think especially Keandre Lambert-Smith. I was really mystified at his draft ranking after watching him play live. And again, and not with a great quarterback. And he still put big-time numbers. I think if he had stayed at Penn State, this is another situation. We had a long opening segment about Isaiah Bond messing up. If Keandre Lambert-Smith is on a college football playoff team, he might have been a top 2-round pick. But I think it also shows how good he was to play at Auburn, put up the numbers he did, and I think Jim Harbaugh got a steal there.
I do too. He ran a 4.37 at the combine, and when he did that, I thought, well, that guy's, he's going up, and it just never happened for him. But I agree. You got to bargain in him. I think Jarquez can carve himself out a good, solid NFL career. And, we'll just see with the rest of the guys. You never know sometimes. So 3 drafted, I think around 8 or 9 have already signed free agent contracts. So they're on their way to compete and see what they can do for themselves.
Well, and I do know this. You came on with us several times, and McLeod's problem was really injuries. If he had stayed on the field a little more, I think he goes a round or 2 sooner. He can rush the passer, and certainly the Jacksonville Jaguars need help.
Yeah, they do. And, he's also a little limited by his size, right? He's not a big, long dude that you really want, in the NFL and stuff to get off blocks. But he works his tail off. And if anybody is going to make up for some deficits there, it's a guy like Jalen McLeod.
Sub packages. No question about it. So, but again, so I thought those 3 guys, congrats to them. Oscar Chapman, as far as the undrafted guys, Scott just mentioned him.
Has a shot to hang on. A lot of times your special teamers don't get drafted. He's got a shot to land with the Vikings.
Yeah, one of 4 guys to sign with the Vikings: Austin Keys, Dorian Mousey, a couple of linebackers, Robert Lewis, a receiver that transferred over from Georgia State. So all these guys are going to get to go to training camp, get to compete, and you just never know sometimes.
No, and especially with kickers and punters, it's mostly about if you don't get drafted, picking your team, somebody that has a need at the punter or place kicker spot. And Oscar Chapman was a heck of a punter for 5 years for Auburn, so he's got a good shot at having I think an NFL career.
Well, and Brian, baseball. Let's turn our attention to a little Auburn baseball, because last year the bugaboo was not being able to get wins in run. It's hard for me to say it, even 1-run games.
Yeah.
Auburn opens up the series against Mississippi State, able to get a 1-run win, and that propels them to being able to get 2 out of 3 against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think it's Mississippi State that's got that I can't win a 1-run game deal going for them right now. That's really hurting them. But that was a big, big, big win for Auburn. I felt like I think both teams were really competing hard there. You knew how important that game was. Auburn going 11-10. I think they're 9th in the SEC right now, but they're just 2 games, I believe, out of 4th or 5th.
Yes,
so that's how tight it is right now. Other than Texas kind of going away with it, but
everybody else is in a clump, man.
Alabama's 12-9. I'm looking at now. Georgia 12-9. Auburn 11-10. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss 12-9, and Tennessee is 13-8, and that's where Auburn goes this weekend. Tennessee's in 4th place right now, so still really wide open for some of those buy spots in the SEC tournament here in another 3 or 4 weeks.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but they haven't changed much, even though they've added 2 new teams to the conference in Texas and OU. Now it's just, instead of 2 not going to the tournament, it'll be 4. You got to be in that top 12, correct?
Yeah, it's single elimination now, and it's going to be just like the basketball tournament, and where you can have a bye and a double bye. So
I wasn't sure if they were going to allow all 16 of them to make it, because what they've been doing with 14 is 2 teams were left at home.
Right.
So I hadn't researched it. So, okay. I mean, at least they're letting everybody compete, but like you said, but the way to do that too is to have double bye, but then it all be single elimination.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons they wanted to get everybody there is because, there could be an SEC team with a really high RPI that maybe doesn't have a great conference record.
Right.
And, if they don't get to go in the tournament, everybody feels like they're eliminated, but maybe that team has a chance now to get into the postseason, even if it doesn't have a great SEC regular season record.
Yeah, your 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds will not play until Thursday of the SEC baseball tournament. So your 16, your 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, 16 seeds, they're all playing on the first round on Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, so
big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference. You want one of those buys, no doubt about it. But like Brian said, there's a log jam. And right now, Texas is the runaway train. I watched a little bit of their series with A&M. their cross-state rival, and that was 3 one-run games. And right now, a team like Texas A&M that was number 1 in the country early, and Florida, who was in the top 10, they're 2 teams that are battling their tails off that are in those 12 and 13 and 14th slots. That shows you how tough the league is.
Florida 8-13, Texas A&M 8-13. They're really good baseball teams. So they could end up with losing records and still be teams that could go to a regional and win it. So that's how good the SEC is.
What did you like about Auburn this weekend? I know there was a NASCAR thing with Talladega having the race this weekend, and I know that's one of what Auburn was playing off that. But what did you see that was the most encouraging sign for Auburn this weekend as far as getting that the 2 out of 3 wins against Mississippi State and getting that series W?
I felt like the lineup finally started swinging the bats better. You know, they went through a 4-game stretch where they had 1 hit, I think, in 32 instances, runners in scoring position. I don't know the numbers this weekend, but it was really good. They were hitting the ball. They were hitting the ball with 2 outs. They were hitting the ball with runners on base. Cooper Murray had some big hits, showing some power now. The freshmen continue to hit the ball really, really well. Chris Rembert especially moving in the leadoff role. So I think for Auburn, I think if they're going to make the best run they can, if they're going to reach their peak or as good as they can be, I think it's the lineup. They've got to be a team that scores a bunch of runs. They've got a good starting pitcher in Sam Dutton. I think they're a little limited overall in the staff, but I still feel like they've got a lineup that can hit for power and score runs and win some of those 12-10 games.
Mm-hmm. And I know they had a little bit of an explosion on Sunday, which is always good. On Sundays, a lot of times you start getting down deeper into your pitching staff, and offense is important. You've got to be able to swing the bats and score runs, and them getting that nice win over Mississippi State and pulling away and winning comfortably has to be a good sign. But like you said, huge test coming up this weekend, though, because there's going to be some runs scored in Knoxville, because that's a hitter's park if there ever was one.
Yeah, and Tennessee's coming off a series loss to LSU, so they're going to be very fired up. They're right there in that battle there for those top 4 spots. So this is going to be another tough one. Auburn's been swept now twice on the road, and the key for them is just to go out there Friday with Sam Dutton and find a way to give him enough runs to get that win, to give them a chance to win the series, or at least not walk out of there with 3 more losses. So this is another big road series for Auburn. They've got this, and they've got a home series, and then they're at Kentucky, South Carolina at home, and I think Kentucky. No, not Kentucky. I don't know what it is, but they got 3 more series left, and it starts with Tennessee this week, and that's going to be the toughest one.
Right. No question about that. No, and then again, what you're trying to do too, it's not out of the question yet, because Auburn's 11-10 in this league. Trust me, I know there's going to be 16 national seeds, but I still think the SEC could have 8, 9, or 10 hosts.
Yeah, definitely. Auburn's still in the mix for that. Obviously, they'd have to win some games here down the stretch, and it's at Tennessee, South Carolina at home, and at Ole Miss to finish the season. So, it's not a terrible finish for Auburn, but there's nothing easy about any of those teams necessarily. So, what you want to do if you're Auburn is, try to get that win at Tennessee, win the series against South Carolina, maybe sweep, and then see if you can steal a series, to close it out there, at Ole Miss. So, we'll see what Auburn can do if they can get to 15 or 16 wins. I think that puts them in contention to host regional, at least in the first part of the postseason.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, Brian, Auburn golf, boy, they look good during the I guess you could say, stroke play.
Yeah.
I mean, 38 under.
Yeah, they smoked them in that part. Absolutely. Yeah.
They get to the bracket, and then they get to the I guess you could say the bracket portion, and but Florida ends up walking away with the SEC golf.
Yeah, once you get into match play, you just get a few guys hot, and you can take it all the way, as Auburn did last year, winning the national championship. So I think with this team, I think that was a good lesson for them, that even if you play great during that stroke play part of a tournament, you've got to step it up when match play starts. And SEC is loaded with really, really good golf teams, Florida being one of them. So I would expect the same type of tight competition as we get into regionals and into the national championship. But Auburn will go in as one of the favorites to get, to get to the end there and compete for it.
Yeah, no question. And then what are your thoughts too on what Bruce Pearl's doing? I know they're not done. We kind of talked about that today. We had a call. Jay from Athens called in about Alabama and Robin Griffin and trying to finish. But see, a lot of these rosters being finished is they're gonna wait out the NBA draft because, of course, Auburn's centerpiece could be Tahad Pettiford. Now, we've seen him mocked in the lower part of the first round in some cases, but I know he's keeping communication open with Bruce Pearl and the staff. And so a lot of this stuff's not going to come all the way together until the middle of May, probably.
That's right. And I don't think the date to pull out is until like the third week in May or something like that. Yeah. So we still got some time for guys to pull out of that draft there. Auburn has a total of 9 newcomers now. Mm-hmm. When you count the freshmen, when you count the JUCO signees and the transfers. And to be honest with you, I think Pearl and staff have really just hit a bullseye with this group. I just think they're really talented, tons of length. I think Elijah Freeman, who they're signing from a D2 school, Lincoln Memorial, is going to be a fun, exciting player to watch. A guy that was, I think somebody told me he was around 6'3", senior year of high school, one of those guys that didn't have a bunch of offers, but blew up, grew, 5 inches or whatever, and gets to D2 school and just goes off. I mean, just shot the ball, handles the ball at 6'8" like a guard. I just think they've got, I think, 10 guys. They want one more guy at least from the portal, another big. But if they can get a solid guy there, I think this is a team that can compete at the top of the SEC once again.
Well, in other words, what you're telling us is they found Chaney Johnson's other brother.
Yeah. It's very similar story, right?
Yeah,
very similar because he was
Chaney was like 6'3" when he was at Thompson High School.
Yeah. And I think Chaney played 2 years, I think, in D2 maybe, and then Elijah
actually redshirted.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
And then 2 years at Auburn, so he had 5 years and had a great experience. And Chaney's a heck of a guy. We talked to him and interviewed him here in studio before he left for Auburn, and we were ecstatic about how it turned out for him playing on the best Auburn team ever. And he'll play professional basketball somewhere. It might be in the NBA, maybe it's overseas, but he's certainly going to play for money.
Let me say one thing on Chaney Johnson. I think it's 11 years now covering Bruce Pearl. I've never heard him talk about a player being the hardest working player on the team as much as he's talked about Chaney Johnson. Probably twice as much as he talked about any player in this entire time here. That says a lot about the type of player and person that Chaney is.
Yeah, he's a great kid, man. And I mean, and basically he wanted to stay at UAH in some ways, but he was encouraged because you had to go. I mean, you had to test yourself and go play at the highest level of college basketball, got NIL opportunities and NBA opportunities. And he's just, and by the time he left Auburn, I guess he's about 6'9". I mean, he's just growing, it seemed like every year. So, I mean, congrats to Chaney. He's a great kid. And now it looks like Auburn's putting together another outstanding roster, no doubt about it. Well, Bryan, we appreciate it. Let everybody know how to connect with you. And there's still so much going on right now over at Auburn with Auburn.
There is, and I always appreciate you guys having me on. The portals are closed now in football and basketball, but you can still take players out of that. So that's still going on. Auburn's still looking for a big in basketball and maybe one more player in football. We'll see. Then, of course,
Bryan, did they lose anybody out of the portal for football when the window closed this spring?
Oh, they lost some DBs.
Yeah, but nobody. I don't think there's anybody in that group. They felt like they wanted to hang on, other than maybe Braden Joyner, the young, I think he's sophomore offensive lineman. Was probably going to be the backup center, but already has starting experience. But he had a chance to go start for Purdue, and I think get a big check there. So he made that decision that a lot of players make now to move on. So good for him. But we'll have that recruiting, high school recruiting. I think we'll pick up now as we move into May with some official visits starting. And of course, we'll have any updates we can have on the team in baseball, softball, etc. All that at auburnsports.com. Follow me on socials. Be mad at you, and please give Uncle Keith's red sauce a try. Homegrown, right here in the state of Alabama. You're supporting in-state business. Delicious, fresh. Publix, Piggly Wiggly, Renfro's. Order online. BMAT15 will get you 15% off.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Brian.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Bryan Mathews, kind enough to join us via Zoom.
Sounded good.
He always
Looked
looks good, sounds good, smooth.
Right.
Smooth. Let's get a break in. Talking Ball returns, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a new wreck, Research Park in Old Madison Pike. That one came in as an injury type. Not sure if it's going to remain an injury type or not. Got a couple of no injuries, 565 eastbound at Glen Hearn and Jeff Road near Nick Davis. Both of those may be close to being ready to clear. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. If you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist, Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
I'm Jeff Jr., founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth. I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin by both my father, who owned a small 10-lane bowling alley, and my mother, who was a nurse, who did her best caring for everyone in our small town. My parents stressed with me that if you were going to do anything, it needed to be done right or not done at all. I later joined the Marine Corps, where additional values were instilled. Values like honor, courage, and commitment. The motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fi, which means always faithful. The best part of Trajan Wealth, our 100-plus employees who also embrace the exact same values. If your current financial advisor is more interested in selling you something or is more loyal to their own financial gain than yours, give us a call for a second opinion. We would be honored to hear from you. Call Trajan today, 256-208-9000. That's 256-208-9000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
And now a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
But that plate never worked.
Welcome back to Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Monday morning. It's a new week. We've been kind of recapping a little bit of everything.
Talking a lot of trash.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it was the biggest story Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sunday, a lot of still undrafted free agents getting opportunities, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it dominated the headlines, and you got a chance to see, how teams were going to improve themselves, and and John Abraham's and the entire Abraham family's team, the Cleveland Browns. They're going to have now a very interesting quarterback battle going on. They've got the old man, the Super Bowl champion, Joe Flacco, the borderline Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer, but
Right.
you'd have to say borderline. He's had a very long career. He is my pick to start coming out of camp. Now, who knows? Maybe Kenny Pickett takes to it and can win the job. He would almost seem like the odd man out only because you've invested draft picks in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Pickett's a former first rounder, and yet, he never could. He had a golden opportunity with Pittsburgh. It never really worked. And then he was the backup with the Eagles last year. Did some good things when Jalen Hurts got hurt. But again, it's just one of those things. It's what have you done for me lately? And the Browns draft 2 guys. Now, again, they don't have a ton of money wrapped up in either one, but you would think both will get a long look. And you kind of probably already know what you have. It'll be interesting if it's truly a competition between Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco about to start, because I don't think they want to start Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders right away. These are 2 rookies that you're trying to bring along. Now, if things start going south early for the Browns, then maybe those guys get a look. But it's going to be a fascinating training camp. I don't know who Hard Knocks is following around this year. They've done the Browns before. They probably need to do it again, even though Shedeur Sanders has basically been on Hard Knocks his whole career because he's had an entourage around him. But going to be interesting to see how that goes. The other interesting thing coming out of the weekend was this disastrous interview that Bill Belichick did.
Oh, my gosh. With CBS.
Did you see that?
It was CBS
goodness.
This morning.
This was unreal.
And it was awkward.
That's an understatement.
It was awkward. It was
bizarre.
Here's just a second of what went on.
Do you feel like you were treated with dignity and respect when you were let go by Robert Kraft?
Yeah, well, it was a mutual decision for us to part ways.
He said fired.
It was a mutual decision.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that's
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
not talking about this.
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on. Though Hudson...
Weird, bro. I'm just telling you.
It only got worse from there.
Yeah.
It was
and Belichick
awkward.
has never been a media guy anyways. I mean,
No.
You've heard his press conferences. But of course, the only reason he's doing all this is he's trying to sell books.
He's got a new book out. Yes, he does.
mean, why do you think Bill Belichick is doing it? He needs he needs something. He needs publicity for his book. So of course he's going to allow media access. Otherwise, it would be a very tight ship and you wouldn't see anything. But it is what it is. I know some people are now thinking he's past his prime. He can't do it anymore. I'm going to be fascinated to see how it works out at North Carolina and see, because he's never coached on the college level except for extremely early in his career. I think with his dad at Navy and whatnot, he had a little bit of experience as an assistant, but really his entire career, his entire head coaching career has been in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how, he does at North Carolina. He got a couple of defensive linemen this weekend, including DeAndre Richardson, a kid that I think has really got a lot of potential out of Florida, but we'll see. I mean, North Carolina has had fits and spurts of success in football, but nothing consistent. And then, how long does Bill want to coach? I mean, how long is he going to do it on the college level?
Yep.
I mean, we'll see. I will say this, people, this kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you're going to remember this, Scott, but it's the last video game I really ever played extensively. And I bought it And it's when he went back to college and shocked everybody. But don't forget the late Bill Walsh. He finished his career at Stanford. He went back to Stanford. And he didn't have success. I mean, they were very mediocre. I mean, it's not like they were competing for Pac-12 championships. But I did play Bill Walsh college football. I played the hell out of it. Alabama was dominant. It was the 1992 team in that game.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, Chad Reuter will join us. We'll get the grades from all your NFL teams. NFL draft recap next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. A warm afternoon expected for this Monday. Expect to see high temperatures reach the low 80s. A small chance of rain and a few thunderstorms expected to develop mainly in the afternoon. Only about a 20 to 30% chance for that, though. Heading into Monday night, temperatures expected to fall into the mid and upper 60s. Will continue to sit under a mostly clear sky. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a new wreck, Research Park in Old Madison Pike. That one came in as an injury type. Not sure if it's going to remain an injury type or not. Got a couple of no injuries, 565 eastbound at Glen Hearn and Jeff Road near Nick Davis. Both of those may be close to being ready to clear. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. If you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist, Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying roll tide and war eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then the power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
Stevenson's going to send this one into the gap. J.C. Wilburn get to it. He dives and dives.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back on a Monday morning. We've been talking a little NFL draft recap. We've talked some SEC baseball, some high school baseball, but we're going to go back to the NFL draft because our good friend from the NFL Network / NFL Media is back with us.
Yeah, he's a draft guru. He's been a draftnik, for a long time. Of course, it was great to have him preview the draft with us. And
it was.
Again, I've read his stuff for many, many years. He's been doing it since 2001, like our friend Bryan Mathews, who just joined us from auburnsports.com. But now he has graded all 32 teams. And that's, kind of what you do now. You kind of start looking at the final tally and who you think handled this process the best. And we're talking about Chad Reuter, and he's been kind enough to rejoin us and give us a draft recap here on this Monday on Talkin Ball. Chad, hope you had a great NFL draft weekend.
Yeah.
With Drew and Scott, how are you?
Especially since I slept last night, the best I have for a little while. So,
well, yeah, you told us you're going to very soon start breaking it all down for the
Next year's
2026 draft. And so we know that, and we know it's a never-ending process. And I believe it's in Pittsburgh, right?
That's correct.
Oh, there it is.
So you're your biggest winners. Team-wise, who had the best draft in your eyes?
I think the Titans were among the best. They really hit a lot of positive notes in their draft. Obviously, getting Cam Ward to lead the franchise was a necessary pick, I think. I love Femi Oladejo in the second round. I actually had them taking him at their original 35th pick before they made the trade down. So him available at 52 was a really good pick for them. Kevin Winston is going to be a starting safety as soon as he's fully healthy. Gunnar Helm, tight end from Texas, he'll probably start this year at some point. He'll pick up that, and getting guys like Al Minor, the wide receiver in the 4th round, and Jackson Slater, the guard in the 5th round. Those guys, again, Slater, I think will maybe not start this year with Kevin Zeitler in, but next year he's going to probably step into a starting role. So I think the Titans going like the Giants, getting Carter and Jackson Dart. The Colts made 2 of my favorite picks, and Tyler Warren and JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. So I guess those are really the top teams.
Well, and one other team I know you were very high on, and we were excited just simply because of the local angle for us with Carson Vincent, is the Baltimore Ravens. They always seem to handle the draft really well.
They do. And the Raiders and the Ravens and the Steelers. Well, the Ravens and the Steelers, I could just put them at the top of the draft pretty much every year because they don't reach for players. They know what the value is. They wait until the value is there, and then they pick them. And the Ravens are very good at doing that, and they have been for years. Vincent is interesting because, not the most athletic guy necessarily. Overall, even considering his size, but he's got the size that they love. And they figured, 5th round, let's take a shot and see if he can improve, his overall agility a little bit, or just his size is enough to make him a good swing tackle, at the next level. So, but man, they get Starks in the 1st, which was kind of a home run hit. Mike Green's available for them in the 2nd. Emory Jones was a really good match again for them on the offensive line. So yeah, it was another really good draft for them.
Well, we also, we were kind of looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars because their 3rd round pick, Caleb Ransaw, is right here from Huntsville too. So we had kind of not only were we paying attention to the Ravens, we were also paying attention to the Jaguars and Caleb Ransaw.
Yeah. End of the 3rd round to get Ransaw and Wyatt Milam to put on the offensive line was a good job. And look, I think it's tough when you go up and get a guy like Travis Hunter because you're going to have to give up quite a bit to get him.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think I could not blame them for making that move because yes, you give up a future first, but to be honest, like he's the best player at two positions in this draft, and that just doesn't happen very often. And we found out the last time the Browns moved down, it was with Julio Jones. And they didn't make much of the picks that they got for Julio Jones. So even if you get the extra picks, you still have to do something with them. And, it's very possible that the Jaguars will get the better end of that deal.
Well, and of course, we just talked about the Browns. They were with what happened with Shedeur Sanders, they were one of the biggest talking points. I got to ask you, where did you have Shedeur ranked? I thought he was a second or even a third round pick, really second for me. But where did you have him rated? Were you shocked that he fell all the way to the fifth round?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I still think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the league.
Gotcha.
I don't buy this garbage at all. Look, and here's the thing: teams sometimes they look at off the field stuff more than they look at on the field things, and
Right.
I can understand if you did not like some of the things he did on tape. I totally get it. But for a guy to be able to stand in the pocket, even though he's facing pressure on a regular basis and the team can't run the ball, so he's often in third and long situations where he has to stand there in pocket and wait for his guys to get open. There's a lot of things going on there. And I think they underestimated his value because of things like an interview. And at one level, I understand that, but I've seen enough guys last longer in the draft than they should and then become Pro Bowlers that I would then hesitate to wait that long on him. So I think, and people bring up the Dylan Gabriel and then picking Shedeur, 2 rounds later. Well, Dylan Gabriel was a late third, early fourth round pick to me all the time because he's going to be a really good backup. You know that. And people were, comparing that to Washington. And when Washington did that with RG3 and Cousins, I stood in a room full of NFL media people the next day and said that was a good move because you don't know what's going to happen with RG3, and Kirk Cousins was second round value getting him in the fourth. And you never have too many quarterbacks. So this could be another one of those situations that no matter how it works out, I think the Browns will probably benefit from it.
All right, you gave the Atlanta Falcons a B-. What did you see and what did you not see that you would like to have seen from the Falcons?
Well, I liked, getting John Walker at 15 was really good. I thought that was really good. I'm not a big fan of giving up future picks for a guy like James Pierce. I think 2023 tape was pretty good. This year's tape was not as good. He's not a big guy, and he's not necessarily a hustle guy. He's a boomer bust guy, and if it turns out for him, great. That's why I don't give these teams like F for moves like that, because we really don't know what's going to happen with these guys when they get money, when they mature. It could really go a bunch of different ways. But for me, making a move like that for Pierce when there are other options available at edge rusher didn't make a whole lot of sense to me personally.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I watched an interview with Sean McVay, and he was all smiles when he said, yeah, he goes, the Falcons really wanted Pierce. I think he felt like that they came out with a good on that as far as getting the picks and moving down.
But if you remember when the Patriots took Cole Strange, I think it was the Rams that were asked in an interview after that, and they said, well, they must have had a higher grade on him than we did, or something like that. So, I trust Les Snead and Sean McVay to do the right thing.
Hey, you gave the Las Vegas Raiders an A.
Yeah, I think he really likes the Raiders draft.
Well, you know what? John Spytek came in here and did the right thing. He really did. And I have a favorite picks of the draft article coming out today. And I wrote that Ashton Genty and Pete Carroll are as good of a combination as peanut butter and jelly. So I refuse, a lot of people are putting Genty like in the 20s or in the teens somewhere. And I had him no later than 6 through this whole process, because I knew that if he was there when the Raiders were picked, they were going to pick him. And I just really love that. Darian Porter in the third, the corner from Iowa State, was a really good pick. Dante Thornton out of Tennessee, the receiver in the 4th round, very good pick. Jack Besh from TCU in the 2nd. I mean, they needed receivers. They got 2 good ones. They needed offensive line and defensive line help and a running back. They got all that stuff. So John Spytek, we knew he was good at Tampa Bay, but now stepping in here, he did a really good job with them.
And I know you talked about the Steelers never overreaching, and a lot of people had Shedeur connected to them. They continued to not address quarterback until the 6th round. And I really like Will Howard. I mean, he may end up just being a backup, but what if he does hit? What are your thoughts on Will Howard and the Steelers? I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, I thought that was a good fit to start. I'm trying to remember if I actually had them taking him in round 4, but something like that. But I think that's a great fit. You know, as a tough guy, not the most accurate downfield thrower at this point in his career, but maybe he gets a little bit better at that, and they can use him as a spot starter and a backup. But I thought that made a lot of sense for where they got him. And it's tough not to appreciate a national championship winning quarterback at some point in day 3. And so it's interesting that Kyle McCord, leaves Ohio State and they don't win a national title. Will Howard comes in. It's just interesting how some of this stuff plays out.
Did Green Bay win the draft? I mean, as far as hosting it goes, did they come out on top?
I'm happy to say that my people in my state of Wisconsin did very well in this situation. And look, there's not a ton of hotel rooms in Green Bay itself, right? But they brought people in from Milwaukee and other cities, and they managed to make it really well. That first night, when you've got 200,000 people in that, I mean, usually on a game day, there's 100,000 people there, even though there's not that many tickets, because people just like to go there and hang out. But getting 200,000 people in that city without many, issues at all is great. And I was really happy to see it.
Yeah, and the house across the street where it said the pick is in, is that a rental property? Because they could make a killing.
They do make a killing on game days with parking, that's for sure. They got a little premium this year on that. And those houses are very, very when they hit the market, they don't last very long.
I would think that's the case. Well, I got to ask you this too, because we got some Cowboys fans listening. Booker, and some people had him going in the top 10 to 15. Like most had him, I thought he'd go 20 to 32. What about the fit? Zach Martin had retired. I think it's a plug and play, but what did you think about Booker in the Cowboys draft?
Yeah, I went back and forth on him, and not because of that's the hard thing about this process is how much does a workout really affect what teams are going to think of a player? And he's not the most athletic guy overall. I mean, he's not. But if you're looking for toughness, if you're looking for leadership, if you're looking for some of those kind of things, then he made sense as a top 15 pick. So I'll be very interested to see if the lack of pure athleticism hurts him against speed rushers inside. Didn't seem to have a problem at Alabama most of the time. It's another level here on Sunday, so that's going to be the issue with him. But everything else, he fits what they want on the offensive line, and so couldn't blame him a lot for taking a chance on him, at 12.
Mm-hmm. And
especially with Ted McMillan off the board at that point, Ashton Genty off the board at that point. You take a shot on him, and hopefully he's as sturdy and powerful at the next level as he was in Alabama.
And I know with Siobhan Revell, their third round pick, Nick Saban was extremely high on him, saying if he hadn't got injured, he would have been maybe even a first round pick.
Yeah, he would have been a first rounder, I think, if he didn't get hurt. The thing about that, and though I didn't love that pick necessarily for the Cowboys, I mean, Revell is good value in the mid-third round. But the Cowboys have had so much issue keeping their corners healthy, and to pick another guy who's coming off injury, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Again, you can't really, blame them for taking him at that point. But I'm like, okay, well, hopefully they'll find some other guys to dress this year if he gets hurt again. It's just that's the only issue with him.
Well, and then Jihad Campbell, he goes to the Eagles. It sounds like the Eagles were trying to trade up and get him, but he falls to them, and then they do trade up one spot. But the Eagles, yet again, Howie Roseman looked like another strong draft.
Yeah. I did like the Campbell pick again, and usually the Eagles do really well, in their draft. So I not a lot of notes for me on the Eagles draft. You get a guy like Drew Kendall in the 5th, and he may not be a Jason Kelsey, day 3 type pick, but he's going to be a pretty good player for them for quite a while. Ty Robinson from Nebraska is a perfect fit at 5 technique for them. They're going to play him, where they played Milton Williams last year, and they're not necessarily similar guys, but he's going to be a guy that's going to play for them immediately in that spot. So, another pretty good draft for the Eagles, I think.
No question.
Yep.
Well, Chad Reuter does a great job. Yeah.
Get some rest and get working on 2026.
I know that will happen in the next few days. Right?
Already there, my man. We're ready to go. This is my favorite time of year where I get to know these players and write up a bunch of stuff about them for the fall. So it's great stuff. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, Chad Reuter, NFL Media. He's a must follow on the socials. Please give him a follow as he does a great job. He's already broken down every draft class. And, of course, that is at Chad_Reuter, and that is Reuter. And he's given grades to all 32 teams, broken it down. And, as he said, we'll start the process now after spring football is over, getting ready for the fall.
Your tomorrow's headlines will wrap us all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got one injury wreck on the board. 431 in Cove Commons Drive. Had Jeff Rodner, Nick Davis, 565 eastbound at Glen Hearn, 565 eastbound at Greenbrier. Also had Research Park southbound at Old Madison Pike. I think all those reported as no injury accidents. No hoses, no mask. Dr. Sandman has the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
You guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then the power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We learned, Scott. Well, what? We learned our guy, Chad Reuter, He says sometimes, red flag, red flag, red flag. You should ignore them or at least not believe everything you read.
There you go. Well, how about this, though? Speaking of red flags,
yeah,
I mentioned, remember, I slipped in a Sacramento State reference earlier in the show.
How far
Do you
have
know
we
why?
fallen?
Do you know why?
Because Jaden Moneybags is now playing for Sacramento State.
Red flag. That's a red flag.
Do you
red
think
flag.
he'll actually play for once?
Because wasn't he supposed to go to Western Kentucky?
I thought so. But, I mean, John Summerall didn't even want him at Tulane. So, and I wouldn't either because he's basically played 2 games at Arizona State in 4 years. And according to the folks that I've talked with, we're not naming names here, but around the Georgia program, he sucked. I mean, let's just be honest.
Let's just say it how it is, right?
Just say he can vouch for that. He sucked.
Shucks. That's a
Tyler Shucks.
Shucks. He sucks.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
Said he was
my
awful.
goodness.
I mean, you know, he wasn't even mentioned as like he was on the team. I actually forgot he was on the team, but Gunnar Stockton, they never and then Pugliski, however the hell you
He
say
took
it.
a trip to Western Kentucky during the window, but I guess
Right.
he didn't commit to Western Kentucky.
Well, we
Now
do
he's
know
going
one
to
good player
Sacramento
came out of
State.
Sacramento State, went to Arizona State, and is now a New York Giant. That's Cam Scatterby.
Boy, that boy's got some heart, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful